Just wanted to wish you guys a happy new year. A little bit late here, but we're just rolling out the market update for 2020 and over 2019 and looking at just the whole decade as a whole. So I wanted to take a few minutes here in this market update to elaborate on what we saw in 2020 as far as the real estate industry goes, both in respect to 2019 and in respect to the last 10 years. I know the media is talking a lot about the housing shortage and the low real estate inventory, and both of those items are becoming definitely common knowledge, talked about a lot. But I wanted to help show what that actually looks like in the real world. So, 2020 total sales, Southern Oregon, Josephine and Jackson counties, all residential, farm, land sales, 5,707. This was only actually a 2% year over year increase from 2019. A lot of that had to do with the lack of inventory, prevented that number. There's definitely more buyers in the marketplace, just not enough inventory to sell them. The overall prices went up 9% in the market as a whole. Again, this isn't just residential, this includes farm and land and the Southern Oregon market as a whole. The list of sales price basically stayed the same. It's at 98%, which is a great number. Sellers are getting very close to what they're asking. We also have seen almost a 50% increase in the number of $1+ million sales. It went from 66 to 98. Years previous, even 2019 was an historic good year in that regard. Previously, we were seeing the average of around 40, and then going back to the beginning of the decade, we were looking at anywhere between like 1 and 10. So the numbers have changed dramatically in that regard. I also wanted to look at not the entire real estate market as a whole, but the real estate market for properties of 20 acres and larger, 2019 versus 2020. And what we saw here, I think, is a really telling story because we actually saw a 17% increase in sales of that type of property versus the whole market only saw a 2% increase in the total number of units sold. Where the market had a 9% increase in the overall average sales price, this demographic of 20 plus acres had a 14% increase. The list to sale ratio went from 94 to 96%, and the number of sales over $1 million increased by 30%. So right now it's an extremely healthy market for selling rural lifestyle properties, farms, ranches, things of that nature. Here's the interesting picture. So going back to 2010 through 2014, which I think most people will say that 2010 and 11 was probably the low point of the market after the recession began from 2000, the previous boom in 2006. So in 2010 through 14, the average total number of sales was 3,864. And in 2020, we had 5,707. That's basically a 50% increase in the number of units sold in the overall marketplace. The average sales price went from 215 to 371,000. Also a extremely large increase of 72%. Average list to sale changed a little bit. The average, or not the average, the total million plus sales also increased by 600%. So a lot of changes in the marketplace from 10 years ago to today. Looking at the same criteria, shifting to just 20 plus acre properties, again, we saw an average of basically 80 sales per year, 2010 through 14, and this year we saw 176 sales. So that's a 121% increase. The average sales price went from 460 to almost 900,000, which is a 92% increase. And again, the amount of $1 million sales went from average of 3.4 per year to 43 this year for 20 plus acres. So that's a 1,100% increase, almost a 1,200% increase. So, in summary, real estate market right now, especially for rural property, is doing well. We have a general lack of inventory. It's a great time to sell rural property in this region, well, pretty much in the whole Pacific Northwest right now. So if there's anything we can do to help you or someone who you know sell rural property, we'd love to do it. Hope you have a great January, and again, Happy New Year, a little bit late.